What is good, everyone? It's King Craft, and in this video I'll be going over a question that literally everybody asks me. Everyone's always like, oh, what do you use to do this, or what do you use to do that? And finally I'll be making a video that covers literally every single thing I use. So first I'll start off with what I use to film. I use a Canon T3i, and then I use an 18 to 55mm lens to film. For pictures I use a 50mm lens, a 1.4. For editing software, I use Adobe Premiere Pro for videos, and then for pictures, I use Adobe Lightroom. For prepping shoes, for about 99% of them, any shoes that are just like leather, I'll just use acetone to prep them. But if it's like a different material, I can't even think of one. But like any other material that's not leather, I'll use acetone, and then Scotch-Brite pads. The Scotch-Brite pads just like scratches the surface even more. And you always want to use the Scotch-Brite after the acetone, because if you do the Scotch-Brite first, the acetone will just fill in all the scratches that you just made. So yeah, always do acetone first and then Scotch-Brite. Next is adhesion promoter. Adhesion promoter just allows your paint to stick better, so you'll spray it like right before you paint something. I use Bulldog in specific. This is what it looks like. There's a whole bunch out there, but I can't really recommend them since I haven't used them. You can get this at Amazon or like a local Pep Boys if you have one of those. Next, I'll cover stencils. Any stencils I use are from D-Nice Customs. Here's an example of like something pre-made he does. This is LV, but he can do pre-made stencils and custom stencils if you send him a DM on Instagram. Like literally all of these are from him. These are just sheets and sheets and sheets. He does custom lace locks, insoles, whole bunch of stuff. Just check out his Instagram page. To cover any tools that I use while customizing, I'll start with my X-Acto knife. Just a basic X-Acto knife. For blades, I use surgical steel blades. Next is a squeegee. This is used for pressing stencils together or sticking transfer paper to stencils. You can get this at D-Nice Customs on Instagram. For tweezers, I use two different types of tweezers. These ones are flat at the edges and you actually push to open them. I use these to peel up tape or peel stencils off of sneakers. And then this pair is sharp at the end and you push to close them. You can get these at D-Nice Customs on Instagram too. These ones I use for taking stencils off of sneakers. For tape, I just use basic Scotch 3M tape. For painting, I use an airbrush, an Iwata HPCS, and then a Harbor Freight air compressor. Anytime I do actually hand paint, I use paintbrushes from Angelus Direct. You can get them directly on their website, or there'll be a link in the comments too. The only paint additives I use at all is Too Thin and Duller from Angelus Direct. Every single kind of paint that I use is also from Angelus Direct. I strain my paint through a strainer before I spray through my airbrush. Everything, like anything paint related or anything to do with that, you can get from angelusdirect.com. You can probably click the link in the comments and get it from there. I strain all of my paint into these little Dixie sized Jello shot cups. And for the ratio of Too Thin that I put in there, it's about a capful of Too Thin for every like 75% amount of this cup. For a heat gun, I just use a variable temp heat gun. A lot of people say you can use hair dryers too. Those do work. I just prefer using a heat gun just because I already have one. I do always wear a mask when I paint. I forget the exact brand this is, but you could just look up respirator or something like that. And it's good to use one if you're airbrushing just because, you know, the particles are super thin and, you know, it's not good for you to like breathe that in at all. Something a lot of people ask me about too is like the lighting I have in my studio. It's just a bedroom in a house. But I have just a whole bunch of LED light strips, like one on the ceiling, like 3 on the wall surrounding my desk, so when I film it's super bright. You can get them anywhere like Walmart, Amazon. I normally don't use any sealers when I'm painting leather, but if I paint rubber, I'll use Raleigh Restoration Scratch Resistant Sealer. You can get it from the link in his bio on his Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's just Raleigh Restorations. I feel like that covers just about everything you need to do a custom pair of shoes. If you feel like I left anything out, just leave a comment, I'll respond to it. Don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe for more content.